Welcome back to our Bluebirds Walk. There's only one topic of conversation this week, the 3-0 thrashing of the Swans. Who impressed, who didn't, and just what does that mean now for the rest of the season? We've got Jamie, Lee and James back with us. Also, of course, this week we're looking back at the away fixtures, and AI is going to predict how many points Cardiff will pick up from all the remaining away fixtures. And at the end of the video, stay tuned for that. We are carrying on with our worst ever Cardiff side. Last week, they put Ryan Alsop in goal. This week, we're adding 2 strikers to that. Who are the worst ever strikers that you have seen in a Cardiff shirt? Before we get into that, though, we've got Jamie, James, and Lee back with us. Thank you very much for watching. Wow, let's jump in straight into Cardiff 3, Swansea 0. Jamie, sum up your emotions at full time. You're muted though. I know you've lost your voice through shouting.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm sorry. No, it was brilliant, mate. It was absolutely fantastic. I think that was probably the most comfortable performance I've seen us play against Swansea. First 20 minutes, a bit sort of sat off a little bit. But I think there was one challenge by Rinamota where Swansea's left back didn't fancy it, and I knew then, we've got him on the ropes. And to be honest, it was first goal went in comfortable, mate. It was. Don't think any Swansea fan, even if they are bitter, would argue with that.
No, I've seen lots of them saying, "Yeah, fair dinkum. You caught us cold." James also impressive. We'll come on to Rinamota in a second, but yeah, talks about Callum Chambers and the role he's taken up recently.
Yeah, obviously, since he's sort of been put into that midfield role, he's been a complete different player, and to be honest, at times maybe looked a new signing because he's been so, with our structure of the midfield, he's been so important to it and how we're playing, and he's really put his place into that midfield now. Excellent player.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee, let's have a look at some of the comments from the game. This is from Ned, just buzzing after that. Unbelievable effort put in by the whole team. Loving the passion from Reza. Callum Robinson, the hero. Referee was good as well. He didn't fall for their play acting. South Wales is blue. Who impressed you, Lee?
Yeah, so obviously top of the list is going to be Callum Robinson for that performance. You've already mentioned Chambers and Rinamota. But, I think I said last week, as long as we turned up, we were always going to be in that game. And for once in this fixture, we really did. You can't really name a player on that pitch that didn't put a shift in. You put ratings down on people like, a goalkeeper, but he didn't have anything to do. Do you know what I mean? But that's probably the most overall performance I've seen Cardiff play against Swansea in so many years. And it's been so long coming.
Yeah, the atmosphere. Obviously, I wasn't there. You guys were. It was on TV. Sounded amazing. Jamie, is that one of the best atmospheres in a long time at the stadium?
Yeah, I'd have to say. Obviously, it was well documented about the march and things like that, but prior to the game. But to be fair to the people who marched, they kept it as a march what they wanted, and they immediately said, when we get into that ground, it's all about the 11 players on the pitch. And to be fair, it was, again, it only takes one tackle. Like I said, the one tackle in the first half where I think Josh Tymon is it, some that he kind of, on my words, he kind of didn't fancy it, and that gets fans off their seats naturally. And then as the game grew on, it just got louder and louder. And again, it was a poignant game. It finished off in the right way with obviously the Reza sending off, but the fans, broke out into say, "This one's for your dad, Omar Reza. This is for your dad." So it just felt like a really, really sort of complete game. Fans going home happy, and I think it just whets the appetite now. I think is it 5 or 6 unbeaten now for us? So I think it's 6. So things are slowly on the way up.
We're recording this before the Millwall game, so we won't be able to comment on that. And you've touched on it there, Jamie. Emotional week for you for the manager, and obviously all our thoughts go to the Reza family. But James, you've been probably the most critical of Reza on here over the last month. So are you now sold that this is whatever happens, he should now just guide you through to the end of the season? Because he's got the players like him. That was evident, wasn't it? The final whistle.
Yeah, obviously, the performance yesterday was unbelievable. Obviously, a few weeks back when we were in such a good place where we were losing games, it did worry me slightly, and I think it worried quite a lot of the fans slightly because we just we couldn't put a win together. But again, over the last couple of weeks, we seem to sort of be picking up an identity of style and play, and sort of getting back to how we were when sort of Rizza first sort of came in. And to be honest, yesterday's performance, it reminded me a bit of the Plymouth game. And the only reason I say this is just because I just thought we were so relentless in our attack. We just went after them and we just kept going and going and going. And to be honest, I think, and this is not me being biased, I think it could have easily been 4 or 5-0 because we were just absolutely hammering them. We were first to the ball on everything. The Swansea players after the second goal didn't want to know. They couldn't cope with the atmosphere, and we were just unbelievable.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rinamoto though before we move on. Lee, lots of calls from fans like Jake here say Rinamoto, what a player. Hayden says give Rhino a new contract. Give Robinson the keys to the city and buy Chambers a beer. And then Homer says Rhino pocketed that fraud Ronald McDonald all game long. Does he get a new? Has he earned himself a new contract just in that performance for you?
Yeah, well, he's a very good squad player. It shows that he's got that, versatility to play in these different positions. He is a midfielder by trade. And, he's come in with NG being out of form or injured, and he's made that position his own. And during yesterday, it just shows like the legs and the physicality of him. Swansea just couldn't deal with him. They switched wingers over, still nothing. It just, it's not his natural position. So, for me, I would just for the versatility of him. Do you know what I mean? So he can play midfield still, and he can obviously play in that right back role as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's leave the derby alone then. So it's good, isn't it? Good feeling to not just to beat them, but to beat them handsomely, because this is a fixture where you've hinted at before. We haven't turned up in previous years, but you were good.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, after that second, third goal, I was in the canton end myself, and quite literally there was people dancing around, and to be doing that after the third goal, singing Swansea get battered everywhere we go, everywhere they go, and it was just it was a very party atmosphere.
And I think, we've, you talk about atmosphere. We've gone up to Swansea on several occasions. And again, you have to play your home atmosphere. You have to play to your home crowd. It's like any audience. You get them on your side. Silly little things can happen. Luke Williams touched upon it, the fracas at the end. That was, and I said it at the time in the stadium, that was almost just to try and sort of save face for some of the Swansea players to say, look, we've given a bit of fight. No, it's an excuse to tarnish your performance. And again, you've talked about Rinamoto. One thing I noticed about Cardiff yesterday, especially, was we'd previously sort of let ourselves off a little bit against Watford. We should have put that game to bed. But yesterday, there was none of this sit back. It was at them at all costs, strike while the iron's hot. And again, it brings a good feeling back to the club, most importantly, because when things are going off outside of football, I think Rizza, again, credit to him, he knew that being in that stadium would have taken his mind off things for 90 minutes. And you know what? I don't care that he lost his head. He'll go down in folklore as the second manager of the season to be sent off against the Jack. So, brilliant.
Okay. A little souring note was that, of course, Hull and Portsmouth both won as well, which meant that perhaps the distance between the bottom three wasn't as great as it could have been. However, you've got a huge game this weekend against a massively out of form Derby County, who might sack Paul Warne even before they get to travel to the Welsh capital. We've asked AI to predict the rest of your away games, like we did last week. We asked to predict the home games and how many points it thinks you may get. It's predicted that you will beat Millwall midweek, you will beat Plymouth, and you'll beat Norwich on the final day of the season. And you will get draws against Blackburn and Preston, and therefore get a total of 11 points. So, James, would you Would you take that?
Not really, not with the situation that we're in at the moment. And in typical Cardiff fashion, I would probably say that we'll lose against Plymouth and go and beat teams like Leeds and Sheffield United.
Okay. I mean, it's only AI; they're not been watching you. But I mean, Lee, would you? I mean, if I said that you'll win 3 of the remaining, what have you got? 10 away games? Would you call that decent?
I think we need to turn a couple of them into draws. If we turn, you see teams like Leeds, Blackburn. We've got Blackburn as a draw. You got QPR there as well, and some of these teams are there to get at. Portsmouth, QPR. You'd like to try and get those at least points, and then 3 points. But I think we'll get more than that if we carry on this reign of form. I think we'll get more than 11.
Okay. All right, then. Finally, then, this week, we are building up our worst ever Cardiff City 11. Last week, we asked them to do goalkeepers, and of course, you put Ryan Alsop in there, or Lead put Ryan Alsop in there, I should say. So we want strikers then. Who are the worst ever strikers you've seen in a Cardiff shirt? As we make up our worst of 11, put your comments below as to who you think it should be. Jamie, can you give us a name for our horror team here?
There've been a few. I mean, we haven't been blessed with strikers, as you know, with a certain Kanga at the minute. I'm going to say, for the fact that we paid so much for him and he flopped, was Andreas Cornelius. I think we paid £8 million for him. Thought he's the next best thing, big, physical, and to say that he didn't live up to the £8 million billing, was very disappointing.
Good shout, James.
I'm going to go for, I got 2 for you, either Gary Medine, who's quite awful, to be honest, fought more than he scored, and I'm going to go for, I know we weren't here for long, but I've seen enough to make this decision, is Wilfred Kanga.
Oh, you can't put a current player in there, surely? Really?
Honestly.
Okay. Lee?
I agree with Gary Medine. 6 mil, 0 goals, and missed one of those 2 missed penalties against Wolves on that promotion season. I'll never forget that. And also Freddie Ganombe.
Yeah, big
14 appearances, 0 goals, and has never played a game of football since. He chose to retire rather than play football. We are literally a graveyard for strikers, literally.
Brilliant. Let us know in the comments who they've missed. We'll stick some of their names in our team next week. Next week we're doing the back line, the defence. So have a think about who the calamitous people you've had in that Cardiff back line as we complete our team through January. And thank you very much again for all of you for watching. Pleasure talking to you this week. Great. I actually enjoyed it as a neutral, I've got to say as well. Watching that. It's good to see. I mean, Cardiff, I don't think you'll go down now. I never thought you would anyway, but there's definitely 3 worth team. There seems to be a fight and a resolve about this Cardiff side, which well, you might have the most talented bunch. I think if they're all working for each other and working for the manager, it's definitely half the battle, isn't it? So good luck against Millwall. Good luck against Derby. We'll review both of those on this channel here next week. If you haven't yet subscribed, you know what to do. Press the subscribe button. We'll love making this content for you, and we'll see you in 7 days' time. Cheers, everyone.